Hello and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I'm here to help you get through your life's journey. And oh my gosh, I don't know if your energy was off today, but I know here in the Northwest Washington, we're getting the funnel of the water. Oh my gosh, and the whole Skagit Valley is like in fear of being flooded. And so it's like, but we're safe here. I know I'm safe here, and but yet, there's a lot of people who are worried about getting home and all that kind of stuff. So boy, so let me know what the energy was like at your day. If it was part of today's day, or the quotation marks around that word, or if it wasn't, if you're here live. But I just want you to know that you're so loved. So today and remembering your truth is your truth, but I'm going to talk about why we may be tired and done. Because a lot of us are feeling tired and done. I know, like today, I was like really wanting to shut down and take a nap, in between this and that, because it was just one of those freaking days, right? Um, because of all the trauma and everything that we're going through and all the emotions that were around, and people up early packing up their houses because if they were on the side of the street that doesn't flood, but you never know how high the flood's going to go, right? As the other side of the street might flood. But it's one of those things that these are the reasons why we're so tired, is because that things just keep happening, one right after another, after another, after another. You got a little gnat coming up, so there again, the gnats in our life, right, are just things just keep coming up. And it seems like the energy's really shifted about COVID time, where we were just like so overwhelmed with the realities around us that was almost the fear based. We were just getting along, doing things before COVID, and we were able to negotiate, but we knew that I know for me, there was something about, I felt like before COVID hit, that you know uh, the 2000, and that was a big change up, that energy field. But I almost was like, what's the other shoe gonna drop here? There was always like this rabbit hole feeling like we were just coming around, and then all of a sudden this COVID thing happened, right? And so that energy around that really set us up to where, even though were laying around, we weren't doing much. Some of us were working extra hard, trying to keep our businesses going, and there was a lot of stress there. But there was the stress of being with people you really didn't want to spend that much time with, right? The marriages that were barely hanging on, the families that, you really realize that your kids were this way or that way, that kind of thing. And so going into this, that we started there, right? And now, since then, a lot of us didn't get our feet underneath us. I know a lot of us, the teachers, they worked harder during COVID, and they really, one year after another after year. And so you just kind of get on this, treadmill of the realities around us. And so I think that a lot of us are tired because our nervous system got so shot, right? Our nervous system really got out of alignment. And a lot of us had already been running on fear and flight. A lot of us have already been dancing in that, how can I survive my life, since childhood. And then you add on these extra stresses, and that was like that little bit more of the energy around us. And so, there's been a lot of life choices that we've had to make in this dance of our reality. And, you know, I'm going to kind of go through the whys we might be tired, and then, I can tell you that, we've always had eclipses. We've always had retrogrades. We've always had these stories, right? You can Google your date and see what planets were in retrograde when you were born. I know I had about 5 when I was born, having, in retrograde, or just going in or coming out. And so for me, retrogrades are just like, they're a little bit more of a microscope, but yeah, it's okay. Because I was born in it. So it's like I was in that alignment now with it. And so now we have these planets that, usually we have a lot of like the five planets going into retrograde during the summer months. So we're outside, we're doing things. Well, right now we have a lot of planets going into retrograde during the winter time here in the Northwest or in the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere, you're going into the summers, so you have a little bit more. I think, from my observation in life, if you're going into the summer with retrogrades, you have a little bit more where you can lay out in the sun, you can do yard work, you can do these physical things. But when you're in the wintertime, you're kind of more closed in, depending where you're at in the northern hemisphere. Some of them are still in the sun, down like in Florida and the southern places, Texas and stuff. It's getting cool enough you can get out and do things actually. But it's one of those things that as you go forward into where we're at, now Veronica, you say thank you for being here and thank you for your texts early. I'm sorry, it was just one of those days today and I didn't get a chance to get back to you. I apologize. But it's like, we're in it now, right? We're in it now. And that's the thing is that we're really uncovering. And then this big movement from the 2025, 24, 25 now, because we knew in 24 that the year 25 was going to be one of those, the we're finishing up with the Chinese year of the snake, right? We're really shedding our old skin off. We're really shedding our own old story off. We may not be able to see where we're going, because remember, when a snake sheds, that it can't see, right? It really can't see. And so sometimes some of us don't really know where we're going yet, what we're doing. I know that over the weekend I was at a psychic fair, or not a psychic fair, but a witchery market. Love it. The witches market. And there was like readers there was craftsmen there was stones there, and there was just a lot of nice little moments. And I did over 20 readings in 2 days, and it was just an amazing process of supporting these people. But a lot of them said they didn't know where to go next. But that's actually the year of the snake, is part of that journey of cloaking what we're doing. And it gets tiring when you're shedding off old stories, right? It's really tired. And I know for me, I had a dream yesterday, not last night, but yesterday night, last night, I guess. No, then 2 nights ago, I guess, however it is. And I had a dream, and it seemed like it lasted forever, that to set up a context here, that I was doing my day-to-day work, doing my day-to-day life. And all of a sudden there was these garbage cans that popped up, right? There was these garbage cans that popped up everywhere, and they were pristine clean. They were really clean. Some of them even sparkled. They were all different colors of pastel blue, pink, bright turquoise, purples. They were just all different um, times that were moving on. And it was kind of interesting how in that story of these garbage cans, that one time I tried to put like food waste in it, and the garbage can closed up and went away, and it was like, no, not that. And then I really got that it was about old stories and what actions that we want to release, kind of like if you've been let's say somebody who's been an alcoholic, and then they're still in that shame. It's time to throw away the shame of what you did before. Now you're going to do better, hopefully, right? Or if you've been anger management, and you've been in shame about the anger management, that was what you needed to go in the garbage can. And things like that. And so it was interesting what was chosen for me to throw away, right? It was like my old story of just my old Natasha that was out of date to this now Natasha, right? So it was one of those things that we're all in the midst. And so we've been really working on that in 2025. So 2026 is going to be more of that. So if you've been doing your deeper understandings in 2025, 2026 is going to be easier for you. But it's still going to be doing some negotiation, because it's the Chinese year of the fire horse. So it's about balance, right? It's about this. And I'm going to do a show later on the examples of that. So going into this, so when you're thinking about when you are negotiating a lot of, I'm so proud of you for still shedding, Veronica. Good job. And that's the thing is that the horse sheds still, right? The fur, the winter coat, it will shed its winter coat, and it sheds its summer coat when it goes into winter because it's a different texture of coat. And so, we're still going to be shedding this next year, but um, it's not going to be as, climbing up in a tree and negotiating. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for being here. For sure, exhausting it is, but it's our nervous system that is processing all this, our vagus nerve, our whole energy field around us. And so many of us don't realize that, our hormones are off balance, male or female. I'm going to say it doesn't matter. Our hormones are off, and that's even more exhausting. And so, making sure that you take care of your adrenals, because the adrenals actually in the endocrine system, that's your thyroid, that's your thymus gland, that's your pituitary gland. A lot of those things are all in the same, endocrine system, but those are the ones that make our hormones. Those are the ones that are our energy. And I always pictured my adrenals kind of like, like if in the old cars, that aren't electric, the alternator was the thing that started the battery, right? You needed a good alternator to get the battery started. If you didn't have a good alternator, your battery didn't start, which didn't start the car. Well, that's what the adrenals are the alternator to the car. It gets things moving, it gets things processing, and it gets things started. And so if you're really feeling tired, please, please, please consider your adrenals. And I know that vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin DK, vitamin B, magnesium, a lot of those zincs and stuff like that really do help with the endocrine system. But the thing is, though, like for me, for almost like now 10 years, I've been taking good adrenal medicine. I go to my chiropractor, and Standard Processing has a very good adrenal medicine. But you can go to, please, please, please do not go to the co-op. I mean, do not go to Costco. Do not go to Safeway or one of those, Rite Aids or Walmarts or Walgreens or whatever you're going to do, because there's a lot of fillers in those vitamins. So go to a good sourced vitamin place, not Amazon either, because you never know where they're coming from unless you have a good company. I'm using quotation marks that go to some place that you can trust and pick up something, because you may still be tired. I know for me today, I was processing a lot of energy. And since this last weekend when I was doing readings, I did a reading with one woman that was in a lot of anxiety because of where she came from. She come from the Mid-Eastern countries over there. And that's a lot of stress over there because of the wars. And so when I was working with her, my heart chakra just opened up. Whoo! And I can tell you, my heart chakra has just been opened up. And today, with all the stress about the floods and everything around me, that there was a lot of anxieties. And I could have laid down and taken a nap today, but yet at the same time, I had something I was doing right after work, and then I needed to get my husband's meal together because I'm having leftovers. He wanted a certain meal that I don't really care for right now. Didn't sound very good, and so I made him his portion, and I'll have leftovers. That's fine for me. But it was like, this hit and miss of these moments, and I haven't been sleeping very good. How many of you have not been sleeping very good? Because I know that the sleeping is off, and the full moon was pretty powerful last week. And, there's just been these dances of this reality, and Mercury's going out of retrograde right now. It's in the shadow effect of going out. And so that's been taxing about how electronics have been working. And, even if it seems like people who are retired and they're just I don't want to call them laying around, but, excuse me, it's not necessarily the laying around, but it's like even when you're trying to sleep, you can't sleep or rest. And it's like what's been so tiring is that there's just been this overall energy, because there is the energy that's out there in the cosmic, right? And I don't know if you've been noticing this, but the portals have been changing, right? The dimension realities have been shifting, time has been shifting. there's been a lot of shifting and our bodies are trying to process it. So if you're having problems with your digestive system right now, that is part of the story. It's that upgrading. And I know for me, that's why the meal that my husband wanted wasn't necessarily what I wanted, is because my gut was saying that doesn't sound very good. And so be careful about what you're eating. I know for me, like, even I used to love green salads. I'm a I mean, I'm a picky eater, but the greens, like a green salad with like tuna fish in it, that would used to be one of my go-tos. But right now, these foods like the salads don't taste as good as it used to. And so I know for me, like right now, sweet potatoes are sounding good. Almost like the squashes are sounding good. A lot of these things that are happening, everything has been off since of November. Everything everywhere seems to be taking place all at once. And that's why we're so tired. Yes. And I'm going to say the 9 month of the 9 year in September of 2025 was a wham danger big one. It was a wham danger big one, right? And that, oh, how was your trip, Kimberly? It's one of those things. So, I know for me, I had a personal 9 year. My husband had a personal 9 year. I'm in my second Saturn return, which is in 3 stages, my astrologer said. So I'm in my second stage right now. In February, it'll be my third stage. I'm coming into being at an age where I'm like going, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And it's like I'm making sure that hormones are doing better and going forward, because I don't get hot flashes, thank you very much. But I know for me that it's been hard for me to wind down before I go to sleep. And, I've made the mistake maybe once or twice in the last 3 weeks where I have a little bit of sugar before I go to bed. And that's even a double whammer. If I do that, then I don't usually do desserts after dinner, and because it's where my body is processing. And so going into this, that if you're tired, it is time for you to do your little rest. Like today, I really could have used like a 20-minute, just lay down, shut down, pick back up and go. So with that, when you are in the midst of these tired moments, if your body wants to shut down, like if you're in the middle of a work day and you have where you can just walk out to your car, set a timer and close your eyes for a few minutes, right? Just shut your body down so that you can push the reset button, because it's almost like restarting our phone, that sometimes we have to reset ourselves. And that's what's important. Now for me, I'm really making sure that I'm taking almost my double magnesium right now with double DK, because, well, it's winter time for one, and the even though I'm outside at recess duty, I'm more covered up. And so, we're going into a lot of things. A very good visit with dad, but he had a fall, broke his hip. Fingers crossed his being transported to rehab tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kimberly. That's wow. Yeah, it's hard getting older. It really is hard getting older. And some of those things are happen, and this is my observation, not a wish for your dad, but a lot of times those falls are the things that help, especially when they're in that dementia, Alzheimer's moment, or they're not in the right space of themselves. That's kind of the body saying it's time for me to go. And so I'm hoping that your dad can kind of negotiate the better. So, but I'm glad that you were able to see him, and I'm able that it went good. I mean, probably wasn't easy, but it went good, and I'm so grateful that you were able to go and see him. Because things happen, and we're going to have a lot of people leaving this planet here. I'm hearing as I'm saying that around February. So there's going to be a lot of people leaving in February. We're going to have another doorway of things happening. And then around the spring equinox, that's going to be another doorway. And then we're going to have another one in June. So we're going to have some that kind of want to go through the end of February, through, you're more than welcome, that going through kind of the end of the year, that portal that's going to be, oh my gosh, how many portals can open up? How many doorways can open up? How many dimensional shifts can we go through in the next, like, I don't know, but I can feel another one coming in through the new year. We're going to be kind of coming into a new understanding. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you right now that whatever you're thinking is the frequency you're going to be in. Okay. The frequency that you're going to be in. So I wake up every morning that I can. I go to bed thinking the same thing. I'm in the frequency of the love and kindness. I'm in the ability to have an abundant life as I walk forward to be of service for you, Lord God, or whoever I want to choose to say at that time. Let me be the receiving of that abundance. Let me be the giver of your love and care. So give me the energy to do it, please, because I'm here to be of service for you. Whatever comes out kind of like that, but it's like I mentioned the frequency before I pick up anything, before I get out of bed, as I'm waking up out of the sleep to the new layers of my reality. I go into that prayer of being in the frequency, because frequencies right now are just so huge. Because anytime that you do things like the numbers right now, right? The numbers. So if it's 211, remember that's 111 somewhere, or 1111 somewhere. If you're in like in a different time, so pay attention to the numbers if you can, because it is in an interesting place. Like there was one video that I was watching, and when I was doing it, the hearts that she had was 9/11, and so I mentioned, because it was a story about a woman getting her power taken away, and I was like at 9/11, and that was interesting, her story about 9/11. So I put a little post about that, about what 9/11 actually is. And so it's about getting our power back. So endings with new beginnings. And we've been walking a lot of this 9 endings to 11 new beginnings. Now, 2026 is a 1 year. It's a 1 year of new beginnings, new starts, new understandings. Now, ones a lot of times still have endings as the transformational time happens. Because remember that actually time is changing. So you might not feel the new year come in until Aries. The Aries is the sign, the first sign of the almanac. And so when you may just feel like you just want to kind of get yourself planned in. So what are you going to plan in your life? Now, we've had September was a 9 month. So September was a 9 month, October was a 1 month, and then December was a 2 month, right? So in the universal stage of the 2026 being a 1 year, so January being a 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, so January will be a 2 month, right? So going into that, now remembering that everybody has their personal year that they're in. Mine has just been going along with the universe. So if the universe is having a 1 year, I'm having a 1 year. If it's having a 9 year, it's having a 9 year. And so it's 1 through 9 is the stage of the numbers that we work. And so depending on what stage you are, what your birth date is. So what you do is you add in your birth number. So the date that you are, I'm just going to throw one out here, 04, right? So we add in 4. And if your birthday is the 1st, so 4 plus 1 is 5. And then we're doing 2025, right? So 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 5 is 12, which means then 1 plus 2 being 12 is a 3. So then that person would have a 3-year. And so then you can Google, right? Mr. Google here, you can Google what that number is for your personal walk. And that's the simplicity. I do Louise Hayes type of numerology that way. And it's just an easy way to count it in. So going into this, that, whatever year you're having is going to be the influence of that 1 year of the universe. So it'd be 3. Let's say, what does 3 represent? And then you would add in the 1 as the universe is saying, let's get moving with it. So whatever that intention is, and having these aspects of this reality can help you really move into having more energy towards where you want to go. Now, remembering that if you are tired, our bodies are taking on so much right now. The digestive system, the heart system, like my blood pressure was up a little bit, and I'm like going, what? That's not me. What? Oh, who's in my heart? Ooh, who's in my digestive system? What old stories are in my digestive system? Right? So going into this, we have these abilities of our body relieving of our old stories. Sorry. Like I said, I didn't sleep very good, so I needed taking on, I guess. So, we're all in the midst of what we're doing and where we're going. So, taking care of yourself. Now, remembering our food does not have as much energy that we deserve or as it used to be. So, please, if you need to take those extra vitamins, I know for me, my liver was having a hard time processing things and my adrenals. And so, those two I've been really paying attention to because a healthy liver is a healthy digestive system, right? And so, yeah, because the liver and the gallbladder deal with the emotions. The liver and gallbladder is about emotions. So I told people a lot about the finger touch. That each finger represents a certain organ, and it represents a certain energy. And I've done a show about that a while ago, and I can re-add that in again. But going into this, that we're in the midst of a lot of these changes. So vitamins is a good one. Rest is another good one. And it's not rest because you're bored. It's not that kind of thing. Because actually, boredom is it's a good thing to get up and moving. Just keep walking around. I know my husband has today off, and he was trying to get steps in the house and just pacing. And so, taking care of yourself with the vitamins, resting when you need to, move when you need to, because depressed energy needs to be moving. And then if you are, and then be careful what you're eating, right? If you're struggling with something that you're eating, like let's say a lot of us struggle with dairy. A lot of us are struggling with maybe a certain protein that's not aligning. Like for me, my greens, I have to be careful of the green lettuces. Now I can do broccoli good. I can do those types of greens, but the leafies are not necessarily aligning with me like they used to. And so, paying attention to what food you're eating, and be careful of the energies that you're around. I know today the energies that I was around, and they were just palatable and just, oh my gosh, I wanted to cry most of the day today because they were so like palatable with anxiety and fear, and those energies, they were almost palatable to be with in the energy field we're in, because actually rain is about emotions. And so the floods that we're having today are taking away a lot of those emotions, if you believe in who's in charge of the weather. Well, I'm just going to go with what is, right? I'm going to go with what is. We had the rain, and that's about emotions. So I bet you, Veronica, since you're in Idaho, that this wind and the rain is going to be coming your way if it's not happening right now, because we've had the rain starting yesterday. And Kimberly, how are you doing with the rain? I know you're down south, and I know that you got pelted pretty good yesterday when we had actually a clear day. And so going into this, it's an amazing state of where we're at. So remembering that we have to take care of ourselves. Now, be careful of the sugars you're eating right now, please. I know it's the holiday season, but we got to be careful of the sugars we're eating, because that drains our adrenals. Adrenals and the liver does not handle sugar as well, and so going into this, that we have to be careful of that, and be careful what you're drinking. The teas and staying away from, like, if you're craving more coffee lately, that's your adrenals saying I need some support, because the adrenals and coffee kind of give us the same scenario. So be aware of that kind of thing. You know, um, today, oh my gosh, I don't know how many times I focused on breathing. I really, really focused on breathing. And especially when I had that little bit of anger I had today because of the the cause and effect of people thinking that they are a certain way, and you know, I didn't appreciate getting yelled at when I was kind of like, why should I be yelled at, right? But it's just being that calmness, and breath was very important to me. I really noticed that. And that's the thing is that when you take a deep breath, and I notice it hurts right about here. There's a little bit of tension, there's a little bit of struggle right here. Oh, remember, I'm trying to take more in. Go past that discomfort. And then go past the discomfort. Because of the fact that when you go in and you expand things, now I've been opening up my heart chakra, so that makes sense why it hurts to expand more, right? So much rain, it started to get me a bit, just a bit. Good to know about the sugars. That's a great tip. Thanks. Because that's the thing is that we can fall back into old habits. I know for me, when I open up a certain drawer to get more flour out or get the oatmeal out, and guess what? There's the brown sugar right next to it. And I like to have a little bit of brown sugar, right? Well, I have to be careful of that because that's a good go-to. And I also was like yesterday, just, feeling run down. And then I opened up a bag of potato chips. Well, guess what? Starches. It's a sugar, right? So we got to be careful of these little sabotagers that are coming into our understanding. And, it's amazing what we can process when we are in the dance of the realities around us. And I know for me, when I was taking care of my mom with Lou Gehrig's disease and not eating as well, chocolate graham crackers was my story. Well, guess what? That didn't really help my adrenals, right? I didn't know better to do better. And now, after all that stress, guess what I'm doing? I'm fixing what I was working through. Right? There again is a lot of the snake energy. And remembering that horses, okay, this is another thing about the horse. They know what to drink. They know where to go to get good water. They know what to be around. They're aware of like the snakes that are around them, the rattlesnakes and that kind of stuff. I need to get off the sugar. Yeah. And that's the insulin resistance too, because if your glucose is up a little bit. So remembering that the more you're on, the insulin resistance means like when you're in a stress moment, like I was like yesterday, kind of a little bit in a stress moment, that I ended up going to the potato chips, but that's the insulin resistance that's wanting me to get something instead of waiting and not eating and letting my body process the stress, right? So I'm even needing to watch it, because we're all human. And so going into this, it is a little bit of this dance of our reality. And we got to take care of ourselves. We really have to take care of ourselves. And I hope this is helping. And, and it is a combination because some of us need to get moving if we're sluggish. Like I noticed that, I really need to start, doing a little bit of more exercise, getting my breath up, right? Instead of being slow and stay and like a snail. But, there again, you know, like yesterday, I was talking to somebody and they were just so tired. And I said, well, like I saw on a video, and I love this analogy, and I forget where I saw it, but he said snails, right? All of a sudden they're there. How did they get there? One little bit at a time. So even if you're tired, keep moving like a snail. You're going to end up where you need to be sooner or later, right? And so going into this, that we're in a very palatable, thick, it's almost like swimming through mud sometimes, this energy that we're in because of these changes that were going on. And we're getting caught up. We have to be careful getting caught up in other realities, like what's happening on the news or stuff like that. Yes, that's a reality for somebody, and my love goes to them. The reality, the people that are in the floods right now, it's like, yeah, I wish I could help out, but at the same time, though, I'm not meant to. I'm not feeling the call to do it right now, and so going into where we're at and what we're doing, we really have to know what is our limitations, but where do we need to be pushed? Because it is that frequency, right? It is a frequency of how to push, how to not push, how to be in balance, and staying off the insulin resistance. And you're in insulin resistance when you go and you just munch. You just go and munch all the time. That's insulin resistance. When you're stressed, you want to eat. When you're, or get something to drink like a Monster drink or something like that, that instead of just slowing down and breathing and doing what you need to do. And so there's that story, right? And I think this may be a good segue for Jesus, Yeshua, come in. Because this is his season right now, right? But actually it isn't, but it because his birthday wasn't now. I think it was more during the summer. I get that he was a Leo. He was born in the August time. Yeah, he says. I was. He just said that. So if you're needing some assistance in your life's journey, remember the square up here is for my website. Right now, I'm still having 10% off all sessions. And so with that if you're listening to this on YouTube or on another platform later that you can go to my front page of my website, and there is a copy and paste of a code on the very front page, and you put it through. And as somebody was doing it today, we were talking at the same time, and it's almost to the last stage of checking out that you put in that discount code, and you copy and paste it. Okay. So I'm going to be, you're so, I'm just so grateful you're here. Okay. So when I channel, I don't leave all the way. I'm just a channel. So remembering that if you don't believe I'm channeling, that's fine. But please remember that it's the words that are said. It's the feeling you get from it. It's the thing that resonates with you. Even in my messages, remember, your truth is your truth. I'm just a perspective to maybe bring in maybe a shift of an understanding, because it's really time. It's kind of like the struggle of getting an update on your phone, and you're like, oh my gosh, do I want to do this update? And then you got to figure out a time that you can do it, and not necessarily holding your phone while it's happening because of all the electricity all the that stuff's going on, from the phones, and expanding yourself, right? And expanding that understanding, because sometimes we have to look at what is the new updates that are going on, right? And I know some apps are updating all the time, even though I'm not asking them to update. Go figure, right? That's reality. But that's what a lot of this show that I would like to offer to you is what updates can you do for yourself? Okay. What updates can you do for yourself? Because frequency is so important. Kind of like the frequency of the tuning forks, right? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Tuning fork, right there. You're right there. Okay. You're right here. So the frequency of a tuning fork, right? I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's like it has a frequency, and that frequency can help with aligning to the energies of where you're at. Whew, that one helped. Whew, maybe I'll sleep better tonight, right? So doing these frequencies. Okay, so I'm going to be channeling here in just a second here. I'm going to ask Joshua to come in. And as he talks and as he is, remember to, if you feel the love from him, please remember to align with that love that he's sending. Oh, dear ones of this reality right now, you are coming through like a little bit of a sifter of your realities. And as you come into this reality, remember that all dimensions, all realities, all understandings right now are going through these shifts and changes. And as you are thinking that it's just about you, it's not. No, we all are all going through this upgrade, even us in the spirit column of life, because we have to align with the new energies coming in just as you were. We don't have the physical vessel that is helping to negotiate the reality of where you're at. And I love that word that this dear one uses. So the navigation of this new reality is going to come in pretty palatable in the next half year. So if you're struggling with some of your realities, remembering that it is time to stop and breathe. When you stop and breathe, you reset your frequency of your nervous system, and that is a helpfulness. So come into your new reality of where you're at with more grace and ease, love for yourself. And that means to slow down when you can and do what you need to do when you need to do it, right? It's not, we used to have the same thing when we would have to go in caravans and go from one town to another. Sometimes we could not hurry it up. We had to just go forward in your story of the reality, like the monks that are coming forward, going from one city to another state, through another state, through another state, right? They are doing the walk that us, Joshua and I, or I and Joshua's stories that you have heard through the stories of life, right? I am one, we are all one, we are all in who we are to be. I, Yahshua, am one who loves to bring in the stories, but I am you and you are me. So that is where we are all part of your unique story of where you are at, so I can support you in that process. Come into who you are and what you're doing with the understanding that you already have what you want. So believe that you already have it. If you are around difficult people, remember, as this dear one had a scenario today, what did she do? She was talking to people. She had one gentleman that came to her and was starting to talk about something and got a little riled up about something. And she said, I just got some news and I'm a little bit angry about it. Please forgive me. I am trying to process it right now and breathe. And the man who knows this dear one said, you're doing very well at processing this. She has the tools, this dear one, to process the anger and the frustration and not necessarily be attached to it, but honor the body's processing of it, because it is part of the emotion. Now, remembering that anger is a thing that can help express something and move it through the body's system. It is not wrong to be angry. It is not wrong to be in depressed energy. It's not wrong to be happy. Oh, this dear one, when we brought her cloak, she got a new cloak and it was wool and it was of the old style and it was of the old understandings, and her higher self and her fairy self and her knowing self just jumped for glee because she finally received something that was so grounding. This wool cloak was going to be so grounding for her in the wind and the rain and the cold. She received something that is going to be a blessing for her. So joyfulness is something to enjoy and be with. At the same time, you have to honor where you're at. Those depressed moments right now are very palatable and very honored to be there, because there is a lot of thinkness going on and decisions that are not made for the better for the society around us. But these awakenings that you're having of anger, frustration, and misunderstandings are to get more understandings and more strength in yourself. Because when you get up and get angry, guess what your body does? The emotions are moving to parts of the body that those emotions sit with, right? So it moves other things through. Does that mean you stay angry? No. You just acknowledge it's a moment. and that you need to move through it. And that's what this dear one said. It is time for you to believe in you and remember to take care of you. You only have one vessel, your body, at this time, and the vessel can heal itself if you think it can. Now, it may not may not do what you want to its fullity, no, but it can do what it's meant to be at this time. It is time for you to love yourself. Like this dear one said, put I love you on a sticky note or on a mirror so that you can enjoy your realities. I, Yahshua, am here for you. Call upon me as I shine light, love, and balance onto this planet when there is very little right now. If you feel like you are needing some support in your future walk, I am here with you. If you need help right now, I am here with you. So is my mother. So are the angels. It is really time for you to honor what you've come through. And the now self. Be in the now as much as you can because your future self does not know yet what to do. Plan, think, and understand. But don't fall into the rabbit hole, as you say, the rabbit trip, I would say, in that hole before you get there. Like this dear one found out that there was going to be, out of the 5 people working, there was going to be 2. Right? So coming into this, she was trying to not go down the rabbit hole of what kind of day it was going to be. And guess what? They didn't even have recess outside because of all the rain. So she didn't have to deal with the kids in the puddles like she thought. So things can change for the better, even though they weren't perfect for her. There's no perfection on this planet. It's only your perception and your perspective that brings that in. So know that you are loved and that you are being loved, and let the wisdom be for you as you go forward in your reality. I, Yahshua, my mother, all the angels, Michael, want to say hi with love and grace for you. May you know that there is abundance around you. It's just witnessing it in its fullity. So be. Wow. That was pretty. Whew. That's a lot of love. That is a lot of love. A lot of love. A lot of love. A lot of love. Okay, so I'm going to pull some oracle cards. What time is it? I have about 10 minutes, and I can do for those that are wanting. I think I'm going to stick with the Wisdom of the Avalon. I think I'm going to stick with that. That's my go-to deck, I know. But I think today, I think that is what is called to go for. So if you would like an oracle card, would you like to please say you would like one? Oh, Kimberly, yes. And Veronica. So I'm going to do Veronica first, and then I'm going to do Kimberly next. If there's anybody else who would like one, and then I might, if nobody else speaks up, I will do one for the collective. Okay, so this is for Veronica. Oops, I almost had the cards the wrong side up. I need to put them the other way. Oh, hello, Dee. Thank you for being here. Oh, why is Dragon? Dragon was upright, but I had a reading with that the other day. So I'm going to shuffle it. Okay, so this is for Veronica. Oh, Patty. Hi, Patty. Big decisions. Oh my gosh, Patty. We need to talk. Okay. This one's for Veronica. Oh, I got to clear. Let love, the message of love, come in for Veronica, please. Woo! So restriction is the card right now for you. But actually, I want to say it's restriction. You're restructuring yourself, but restriction might look like it the way it is because you're getting the restriction of a lot of the energies, and that might feel like, because sometimes when the snake is feeling like it needs to get out of its old skin, it's a little restricted, right? So you're moving forward in your reality, and it's about moving into who you are and what you're doing. So, as you're ready to make some big changes, sometimes you have to take 2 steps forward for your future self to know what's going on. Because, like my kid says, Veronica, that your past self may not have set yourself future self up for success, but your now self can set your future self up for success. So remembering your steps in your life right now are very important. And there's one more card coming for you, my dear. So what's this one? Yes. So the eagle, it's about getting the bigger vision. It's about getting the bigger understanding. So don't get stuck in the little personalities. Like today, I was really working on not getting stuck in the really little realities. So it's about finding your blessings and finding your knowings. Okay. You're more than welcome. Okay. So now, Kimberly, your turn. Brought these cards out at the fair, but I didn't really use them that much. So, woo. Okay. So you had, the Fire Fairy, creative action, optimism, and focus. So the card is 30 and 33. So a 30 is 3, and the 33 is a 6. So look up those number too. And then if you add those two together, that's a 9. So the 3 combination, right? So the Fire Fairy is about creative action and optimism. So remembering that you're going to make some decisions here in the new year, and it's really time for you to honor where you're at and what you're doing, because there might be something outer world pushing you into making some decisions. But remember, you're creative and your optimism. Be creative in what you're doing, my dear. It's about your creativity, and it's about focusing on your intention of what you want in your life. Right? Focus on the intention that you want with your life. I hope that helps. Okay, now Patty. Oh, what can I help you with, my dear? When we can talk, not necessarily after this. Maybe for a few minutes if you want to talk after this. I can't talk very long though. Okay. Hawk. So that's about omens and messages. So listen to the messages of the universe. You are very in tune. Oh, channel write a poem. I'm getting, my dear. Channel write a poem and see what the language is that's coming out. There's one more card for you about what is the message that the hawk wants to give you? Oh, bigger vision here. Okay, so independence and healthy boundaries is some of the things that the hawk wants you to know. But remembering hawk and eagle can take after a cat. So remembering it's about boundaries, like cat has boundaries, and maybe protection. Watch your protection. So independence and healthy boundaries. But remembering that you have an eagle here for the psychic, spirit, integrity, connection of the angelic realm. So eagle's about that connection. But remember, the cat was sandwiched between. And so what is your bigger vision while you have the boundaries of knowing that you do not have to be the victim or being attacked by theirs? So as you're coming into these big decisions, it's about finding your truth and understanding that not everybody's going to have that truth. And, if you need to come up and rent from your sister, right? Because she wants to take in short or just to support her income, right? So maybe you can rent a little bit from her. Does that mean that you sell your place down in Arizona? That's up to you, right? Right now, movement is a personal choice. Moving from here to there is a personal choice. So that's a story. Okay, so hi, Deanna. Dee Dee. Okay, here's for you. Okay. You got a couple cards there, sweetie. Okay, so I got to get. Oh. Okay, so these three dropped out. So the cat and the eagle and the hawk, they dropped out. So I don't know. Let me check in and see if they need to be added in. But you got, first off, you got the novice card. So the novice card is about innocence and the beginner and the integration of new skills without practice. Unstable curiosity. So as you're going into new understandings, you're not going to know everything, right? But you're in the transformational stage of the butterfly, which is upside down, which you may be more in the caterpillar of getting information, which is actually the novice is about gaining information, right? So you're not in the full butterfly stage yet, but you're in the part of where you're getting the energy. So it's about focusing on the new beginnings that you want, focusing on what your intention is as you're going through the birth to rebirth process. But remembering the caterpillar might be the hyphen. There's a hyphen between the birth to rebirth. And so you'll be going into the rebirth because the fire fairy wants to support you in your life's walk. So remembering that if you these cards resonate with you too, those that are listening later, remembering that that this energy can apply to anybody, right? Because it's time. Top card is to be gentle with ourselves. And the deer has been so palatable around me. I was actually doing a show, and there's a deer that was outside. And it was very interesting when I was talking about that. So coming into where we're at and what we're doing, it's about always being gentle with ourselves. And I know I've been seeing a lot of young deer. So that's about the innocence of being taking care of ourselves and being very gentle with our walk, because they've been walking very like gingerly, and so watch where you're stepping. It's about intention. We don't have to be fast. We can be the snail on the ground. We don't have to be fast, but it's about where we're at. And you know what? The other day, my car in the garage had a snail that was on the window. Later, I found out it was inside my car. Go figure. So snail has a big message here. Okay. May love be with you. I will be on next Wednesday. I don't know if Regan Forston will be on. That's the Wednesday before the holidays. And then after that, through after Christmas into the new year, I'll be not on. I'm going to take that week off. So I will be, next week will be my last week on. I think that's the way it is because we're in the second week, aren't we? Yeah, the 17th. So the 24th is Christmas Day. I will not be on Christmas Day, and I will not be on the 31st. So then I will be missing 2 shows during the next during the holiday season because I will be out of town. So may you find love, may you find the blessings, and may you find the wisdom, because I know the people in my house will be enjoying having the house to themselves. So may you know that as you're going through these changes, and please remember also that, integration of this energies is a good thing, right? I told many people with their ADHD energy and everything, grab onto it and pull it down around your body, right? It's like pulling on a cloak over yourself, or pulling a t-shirt or a sweatshirt over yourself, right? And going down into a pantsuit thing, right? You need to take a hold of yourself and find that energy around you, and be aware that life is happening. But we got to get more centered in ourselves, more grounded in who we are. I know the wool cloak is helping me feel more stable on this earth right now. Feeling that heavier hug, right? Thank you for being here with you. I do hope that my perspective, as your truth is your truth, helped you to negotiate your story. Yes, you may still be tired next year, but it's about taking care of yourself so you have that reserve energy, because we're kind of tapping out of that reserve energy of this planet. My love is with you. Bye now. You're very much welcome, Kimberly and Patty. Thank you. And Deanne, bye now.